everybody? Welcome to podcast episode 47 with Shannon Breen, Co-CEO and Founder of FreightVana. Let's hop right into it. What's going on, man?
Alex, what's up, man? Thanks for having me.
Hey, thanks for coming through. I just want to put it out there again. I hauled for you guys. You guys were always one of my favorite people to see on the boards, and really happy to talk to you today.
No, man, I saw it pop up. I know we've been messaging. I saw your note. It's really humbling, man, and I've seen you and all your journey too. So it's kind of cool and surreal, even on this Friday afternoon, to connect with you, brother.
Yeah, man, it's just full circle. Like, I just appreciate your time and everybody that comes on the show. It's like talking to these people that I didn't think I'd ever get to speak with. So it's just a cool journey. But let's hop right into it, man. How did you get into logistics? What was your first kind of taste of this industry?
I joined with night transportation in the summer of 2012, and I didn't know anything about any of the terminologies. I started out kind of connecting the worlds. So at night they had a brokerage that was at that time, 50, 60, $70 million, but not really connected to the overall org, and kind of the redheaded stepchild of the org. And so I was just getting my feet wet, learning the steps, the ropes, the systems. We ran off the green screen. You ever worked off the AS400, Alex?
Oh, AS400, actually, without giving too much away, I'll just say yes, I have.
Okay, so that's where my career started, on an AS400, and I hated it. I hated everything about it, but that's where it started, and I had to create, we created.
Hey, man, you know about using the arrow keys, page up, page down, no mouse.
F12, shift F12. Oh yeah,
it's functional. Let me say something good. It works, man. It gets the job done.
It doesn't break, and then that's why a lot of folks still use it today, at least.
What was your starting role? I mean, what were you doing over there day one? What was your kind
of? It was like I was working in between like the national accounts division and the logistics division, but I also was just learning the ropes by essentially being almost like an account advisor, account manager, like working with customers, booking loads. I knew nothing about how freight worked. So while I had kind of a connector job between the the largest shippers in the country and the growing brokerage, I also was just doing my steps and starting from the ground floor, which honestly was a really amazing experience I wouldn't take back, because where I sit today, like, I learned so much, and I'm glad I didn't skip any of the steps, because I could really help me and it advantaged me as I grew in my career, knowing a little bit about that 400, about the operation, all the touches, how things moved, what worked, what didn't. It was really great for me to spend that time in those roles.
Yeah, of course. I mean, where did you go from there? What was the next step in the journey?
Just, there's some battlefield promotions, people moving on, took like, pod leadership roles. And then I think a few years later, I was running, the entire logistics org for the night umbrella that was growing pretty quickly. So definitely loved and appreciated that. Fast forward, we did a merger with Swift, one of the largest.
Okay. I'm super happy you said it, because I was going to humble myself and say I actually don't know when Night Swift became a thing. So.
Yeah, it became a thing in the fall of 2017. So, interesting merger, large merger, only about 20, 25 miles apart from a corporate headquarters perspective, right? So that made it pretty convenient. Unless you were like me and some days had to drive, from one corner of town to the other, running the full city triangle here in Phoenix, Arizona. So, but really interesting, the education of a lifetime, honestly, working through a merger, and just grew my career from there, man. It had some responsibilities over intermodal for a bit on the Swift side with all the containers and trucks. So worked on systems and TMS. So you act a little bit. I mean, so I've touched a lot. And then certainly, you talked about, and we're going to talk a lot about the FreightVana journey. Like, all of that was fundamental in where I sit today. The pieces built, the people, the relationships I have, the network. Like, I wouldn't have had that had I not, worked my tail off and gotten the opportunity I did in the first 10 years of my career.
I know that our situation isn't even vaguely similar to the size of that merger, but I mean, if you want to go through quickly, just some, what were some pain points? What were some pluses of going through a merger for those that might not have actually had to go through one before?
Pain points is just a lot of chaos, man. It's just, there's a lot more questions than answers. So you get used to kind of a rhythm, right? And you're used to like how things flow, and there's a cadence. The thing that I would share is, like, you have to thrive in the chaos, because there are no answers. And it's like murky and there's stuff coming from everywhere. And so it's just very chaotic as you work through, once it actually kicks off. So, but you learn a ton. And I think that's the biggest positive. You learn a ton about yourself, Alex. You learn a ton about people and continued people management. You make mistakes, so you get to learn from those. I mean, it is. I tell people all the time, the merger was, no offense to my alma mater or my college career, but like the merger was an education of a lifetime, and I learned so much. And so people haven't been through it, although painful, depending on however it works and where you sit and all the things, you can really learn so much. So I really embraced it and came out of it like really blessed that I got a chance to work in that environment.
Yeah, no, of course. I mean, my boss, Benham, has been, preaching just stay positive. I mean, we're not children. We all have to kind of learn from things, and we all have to just try our best as, positive adults. And like you said, with the merger, things are chaotic, and there's definitely more questions than there is answers. But like you said, it's a great learning experience, and it's you have to definitely be able to thrive in the chaos. And it is fun at the end of the day. Like when you kind of look back on it, when it starts kind of settling down and you've kind of got through the merger, it's like, okay, like it was an okay experience at the end of it.
Yeah, man. And look, I think it's a testament of leadership, right? In that chaos, and I say it all the time, like that's when the leaders emerge. And so it gave me a real opportunity to earn my stripes even more, build bonds and trust and relationships with people on the Swift side that I ultimately didn't know, but I had to earn those stripes, right? You start from a zero base.
Yeah, you start from nothing.
Yeah, and look, you can walk in with any. I tell people this all the time. You walk in with any title you want. You can walk in with any, compensation
amount of experience.
Yeah, experience, compensation, title. You want to show up through the door with that? That's fine. Most people, like that's, they'll follow you because if they're following you because that's their paycheck, that's one thing. If you can get them to follow you because they believe in where you're going and they believe that you care about them, that's a whole different level. And that's honestly, something that I covet and something that was really special going through that.
Yeah, that's some words of wisdom, I mean, from a leadership perspective. But all right, man, take us through the meat and potatoes of the show, the part that I'm super excited to get into. I mean, take us through the FreightVana journey, where you started with it and how it all kind of is what it is today.
Yeah, wanted to change industry. I know people talk about that. Wanted to evolve industry, maybe even a more important term, with some key facets, right? The trailers, the power only offering, how we worked with the individual carriers, the type of business that we built here. And so in June of 21, we founded FreightVana. We started with a couple dozen really talented people, joined us day one, and have been growing ever since, man, which has been a blessing for our carriers like yourself that supported us, gave us opportunities when, hey, maybe we weren't well known. And certainly a blessing for all the small, medium, and large size shippers that continually vote their confidence by giving us opportunities in their network. And so it's been a tough market. Don't get it wrong. We did our first load in August of 21. We've continued to accelerate as a company, but I think it's a testament to how we show up for people, the character that we deploy, kind of just old school kind of philosophies that people respect if you do what you say and I'll use a professional term, if you give a shit about what you do.
Yeah. I mean, there's that whole thing of give a shitness, and it really does go far in our industry, man, because that's sometimes all it takes. But I'm actually really interested to learn that you guys have only been around since 21. For whatever reason, I thought you guys have been around a lot longer. You're definitely as established as people that have been around a lot longer. And now that I've heard that, I guess I've been with you guys as a carrier since your inception.
Yeah, you were carrier 18.
Yeah, literally.
I don't really know.
I remember.
I just made that up.
No, of course not. Yeah, I mean, I worked on multiple companies. Who knows which number I was in all of those companies? But I mean, this is the thing with FreightVana, and this is the thing that made me so happy to be able to sit down and talk with you. It's you guys have that effect where when I see FreightVana come up on the load board, I get excited. I'm like, okay, I know whoever's gonna answer that phone is gonna be a professional. They're gonna know what they're doing, and I can't remember a single load that I hauled for FreightVana where I was in a bad position where something wasn't sold as it should have been. And I mean, it's just take us through how you guys kind of built a team that scaled that quickly and kept quality that high.
Yeah, two things. One, highly appreciative of the feedback and humbled by it, right? I think it's one thing to set out to do things a certain way. I think actually having, you know, your sentiment from the other side, right? Being someone that worked with us, have that feeling is really a special thing for you to share, man. So I really appreciate that. And look, I think it comes down to your point, the people. You said it. The people that we hire, the people that train the people that we hire, the people that we had from the origin. Like when I think about our team, and like everybody loves their team, right? You love the team.
Yeah. Everybody's
right?
gonna talk like, oh, my team is the best. But I mean, I was a carrier. I dealt with your guys' operation, and I can tell you, like, I'm just shocked to hear that you guys scaled that quickly and kept it that above board.
My aspiration for our ops, for our accounts, for our sales, for our tech, for analytics, for our back office, all of it, man, is to challenge ourselves. What does the best look like, right? And that requires hiring the best, holding each other accountable. I know that all sounds cheeky, but got a chance to hand select some really good pros to start. And so I'll go back to the people, man. When you start with a really eclectic group of talented professionals, right? Think about I share this like the Navy, right? It's, hey, you're in the Navy or in the SEALs. Both are highly respected. Both have a job to do. But what makes the SEALs different, right? Just a little bit more dialed, willing to sacrifice a little bit more, willing to put in a little bit of extra work, willing to push their bodies to another level, just a different cut, right? And I aspire to have our brand position themselves and always desire to be that haven for the best talent in the industry. Meaning, as we continue to grow, and we've proven that recently, Alex, which is cool, like I get messages from these really talented industry pros. They're like, man, I love what you're doing. If there's ever an opportunity, you let me know. And like that makes me feel like we're doing the right thing. We're hiring people from the biggest brands in the country that want to be here because they see something special too, man. And so that momentum, like sports, begets momentum. And I think it's all predicated on just this passion of mine. Hopefully how I show up for the team and I position our business and for them to be successful in what they do, have personalities, be creative. Like,
you guys have a really good culture of employees over there where, you know, you guys are accepting of people. They can be humans, you know, you guys don't shove everybody into the same box, which I mean, you can see just through your social media game.
Yeah, and then social media has been a superpower, man. I know.
We'll get there. We'll get to the social media.
You got questions on that? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, take me through day one, man. I'm just so interested. How did day one look? Where was the first office? Like, how many people were on the original team? Like
24 plus John and I, so a total of 26. We were in office.
That was day one. 26 people day one.
Yeah. So I told you we were built different, Alex. I told you we were.
Yeah, that's a huge day one team, man.
So and hey, no loads, no system, no TMS. So it's not like we had anything different than anybody else's day one. It's just I had 24 really good people that weren't going to let each other fail. But if you really want to know a cool day one story, you know, people are meeting and greeting and hugging, and the energy's high. And then in the afternoon, man, we went and got video of this, which is probably one of the most endearing pieces of video. And we all go around the table and we kind of talk about our why, right? Why we're there, why we took the risk, what we're hoping to see. I mean, you want to talk about a video, like literally I get like hair standing up on my arms just talking about it. That's special, right? And there was some stuff, there was tears shed. It was an emotional, it was an energetic, but I mean, so you start with like an intro, and by the midday, we're going around the table talking like really heart to heart about the journey ahead. That was a defining moment for our team. It forged us in a certain way. And now when I look at what we've accomplished in the last 3 years, there's zero doubts. Like those are the types of scenarios that was like, all right, hey, we're in this thing together. Let's go get it.
Well, I mean, where did all of these people come from? I mean, were you guys all industry friends? Did you guys all come from the same company?
A lot of folks from Night Swift. Yeah, a lot of folks from Night Swift, right? Night Swift's a huge company. And so by the time I had left, a decent amount of folks had reached out and had certain passions and ambitions. And so I kind of had the opportunity to put together a pretty eclectic team from some professionals at that location. So.
Yeah, that's wild. I'm so happy. Like I have this insider information, man. I'm like, oh, this is so sick. But okay, I mean, take us through kind of how did you guys grow? Because I mean, you guys have been around for 3 years, and you're as big, if not bigger, than people that have been around forever. I mean, what was the strategy you guys deployed to? How did you get so big so fast, man? Like,
yeah, I look. Talent, we've talked about that with the people, right?
Surrounding yourself. The people. I mean, that's look, definitely step one.
You can't outwork that. Ambition, setting goals that were audaciously big, but you got to realize, like for myself and others, we're used to coming from a place that was moving 60,000 truckloads a week.
Yeah. Yeah, that's like so you guys are like, oh, like 5,000. That's normal.
So you understand big, right? And look, I think there's life, business, there's immense power in perspective. Immense. I think it's probably one of the most powerful things there is perspective. So you got to realize when most of your working life in transportation is thousands and thousands of loads, thinking that you can move thousands and thousands of loads isn't like this most audacious thing you've ever seen. It's almost like what you know and what you think.
Yeah, it's just like another day. You know, you guys are used to it. Just because you're doing it for yourself now doesn't change the fact you guys have already been to that. You know, you guys didn't have to pretend like you've been here before. You guys have actually been there before.
Yeah, and so you had all those learnings, right? So not only do you have a really good team, you have all those nascent learnings and experiences and knowledge and pros and all these independent departments. Well, you can cover a lot of ground really fast when your backs are up against the wall, but you got that type of attitude and that type of team. And we've had great support along the way too, right? And so it's setting those goals, it's having the right team, having the right partnerships to help us in the beginning, and honestly having both shippers and carriers that are willing to, give us a shot when quite honestly, there's plenty of other places that they could take their business. And so, but every time we get our opportunities, like to your feedback earlier, we rarely miss and ruin those relationships because our team does a pretty dang good job of helping out.
Let me tee you up here for I guess to touch on both of those topics. Okay. I mean, take us through kind of if you have any advice or anything that you guys kind of did differently, if you're willing to even give out the secret sauce about how you guys approach shippers. And I mean, how did you guys gain that business? What was your guys' approach saying, hey, I know we're brand new, but look, like our team has been here before. We know what we're doing. I mean, how did that conversation kind of go with the shippers?
Yeah, of course they know the pedigree, right? They can understand that we're experienced beyond our logo.
Beyond your age.
Beyond our logo, beyond our company age, right? I think the other thing, Alex, if I'm being honest, we pour out a lot of like passion and authenticity in what we do. Like it's raw. And I think for anybody or for a lot of folks that work inside corporate institutions, they can appreciate that. They can appreciate a band of people trying to do something special and different. And so, when you show up authentically to them, you tell them about your story, you tell them what you'd like to accomplish. You've earned that credibility over, hundreds of years of collective experience. A lot of people are like, you know what? Like, even though I don't have a ton of opportunities, I'd like to have you as one of, I'll give you a shot. I'll give you an opportunity.
So basically just being yourself, being, honoring your word, just being authentic, just being a person and not coming across as somebody like on a script, basically.
Yeah, we're not setting the business up, nor will we ever, to be the low cost, shippers broker. Like there's plenty of those out there. Respect them. It's a different type of model. We set this company up to be differentiated in our investments, differentiated
based on quality. Yeah.
Based on quality. And look, I think
we're not the cheapest, but we're going to be the best. That's always a good way to do business.
And there's not a market in this world where there aren't people that are willing
to pay for quality.
Clothes, cars, sports, you name it. Like it exists. Watches. It just depends. And that doesn't mean everybody has to be there. I'm not trying to be there for everybody. I'm trying to be there for the folks that see that quality and also see that differentiation in being a logistics company with the national trailer pool that we're building. I think that becomes a really unique offering for shippers. And that's something that they're willing to test and pilot and give opportunities in because it's very different than what they usually get from the traditional participants out there.
So take us through that because that's something. So I know most people know this about me, but I was doing power only as a carrier, strictly power only for, I don't know, a year and a half, basically. So I was hauling FreightVana empties. And I mean, how did you guys get into positioning yourself to do a trailer pool, to do power only? Because it's pretty rare. I mean, when you're in the power only market, there's, I don't know, I'd say less than 7 or less than 6 brokerages that really do power only on a serious level, not just like randomly a load here, randomly a load there.
Yeah, I'll get into so I got the chance to build that division out post the merger that we talked about, learned a ton, and had this burning idea that that as a pure play standalone could be a really special offering that the market really didn't have. So that became one of the big, yeah, just standalone, right? Because the other ones are attached to either large mega brokers, large mega carriers. They have their benefits. They certainly have their drawbacks, but it's like, what if you could build it independently, authentically, as a standalone, with autonomy, with the agility that comes with a little bit of startup life, with a really talented team. Going back to that, that becomes a special ingredients list if you were going to build something differentiated in this very traditional kind of copycat world that is transportation logistics.
So how did you guys start out with this power only trailer idea? Like, how did you guys grow that? I mean, obviously started with the first trailer, but I mean, how many trailers do you guys have now, man?
Yeah, close to 700 trailers now and growing consistently. Big plans for next year to add on even more. Good partnerships with some manufacturers. Shout out to Wabash, was a good partner of ours in our early innings, and it is still today. Provide some great equipment and have supported us at almost every step. So they've been great for us, Alex. So you got to have friends, right? You got to have a network. You got to have people that trust and believe. And that goes beyond, right, shippers and carriers. Because I just mentioned someone that, has given us a ton of opportunity and support along the way. And so you got to have folks like that believe in you. And you need breaks, and, you take bad breaks and good breaks, but those have really helped propel us.
Yeah, I mean, I think the power only market is its own animal, and I had a lot of fun in it, man. I mean, I don't know how many people can say that they dispatched or ran a carrier that did only power only, because it's about as niche as it really gets, besides like heavy haul or something. And honestly, I think there's probably more people that do heavy haul than there's that do just random power only.
Yeah, but give to your folks here listening, like, what do you think from your vantage point? What were you're the carrier, right? I can tell you the benefits, but you're the guy that was once behind the power. Like, why did you like power only? What were the definable benefits? Like, so that people can truly understand through your lens why it was such an advantageous or profitable or beneficial for you and your business.
Yeah, so I mean, all the positives of power only come from step one. If you're a carrier, all you have to do now is find owner operators that have their own tractor. And there's a lot of owner operators that have the power unit, but not trailers. So that's already like an advantage one. Once you find an owner op that has a truck, then you can just tell them, hey, just come by with your truck, start working, man. And that's like really cool for the drivers, because nobody really offers that. And trailers are expensive. So, if sometimes a lot of the owner ops are guys that are just getting into the business, just switch to the owner op side. And they're like, oh, I have a power unit, but I don't have a trailer. So that's step one. Step two is the flexibility. And when you want to get into the profits, I mean, you can get lucky, especially if you build out your network of power only brokers and customers, where you can go run 4 or 5 drops in a day, and then the guy can go home, right? Like, he's just, and no load time, no unload time. 80% of the freight is empty trailers, so you're not killing your truck as bad as if you're hauling 45K up the mountains. So I think power only, if done correctly, is probably one of the most profitable ways to run a carrier network, and people aren't doing it because I think they don't know how to do it, or it's kind of, I don't know how to say it, man. People aren't used to doing power only, and they maybe never come across the idea of it being a profitable thing to do long term. And with power only, you have to always be booking. So the dispatch is really different, because if you book a load for a drive-in in the morning, then that truck's done for the day. They go pick up and they're done. Power only, you're booking freight at 8 p.m., 9 p.m. You're on, the automatic load boards on your phone booking freight. And I mean, power only is a lot more flexible, and it's a lot more fun, man, because you can haul some cool stuff, tanker trailers, you can haul farm grinders. And it's just its own animal, and I get excited when I talk about it because I had a really good time with power only.
Hey, it's its own animal internally. I love that. From the carrier, it's its own animal. Certainly internally, it's its own animal, and that's why, right? You got to have, asset security, asset management, maintenance, there's a
maintenance,
all the people, right? And hey, like from a carrier side, right? Like that trailer typically gets maintained by someone like us. And so having the right partners like you, like the pretty stringent vetting that we do on our fleet, like we need partners that give the same craps about the equipment. Our professional drivers are willing to take care of it. And so, that has been a testament to our overall build, is really finding that group of carriers that enjoy it, but also respect it just as much as you did back in the day. But
yeah, I hope, I'll make some clips of this. I hope people watch this part back and get some more interest in power only, because I mean, my old carrier company is still going. They're still in the market. I keep up with them. I mean, power only, I would love to see more people doing it. I would love to see the market grow for carriers and for brokers and for shippers. I think it's a really fun way to do the whole driving thing. The no load times, no unload times. And I just think it's a really cool thing that people need to start kind of doing more.
Well, I'm gonna try to do my part as far as the growth, Alex. Me and this team. I don't know if we can. I don't know if we can change industry, but we'll certainly try to make a dent in it, my friend.
Hey, we'll definitely bring it out there, man. Maybe people just haven't thought about it, I mean, most carriers book power only when their truck or their trailer breaks down and they need like one power only loadout, But I want to go into carriers with you. How does FreightVana view carriers? How did you guys build your culture around dealing with carriers? I mean, what does the carrier mean to FreightVana?
I think table stakes, right? You wouldn't get someone in my role on here that would sit there and be like, they're the lifeblood, they're the heartbeat. I mean, anybody, right? Managers, drivers. I let your sentiment speak for how we treat, right? I think what I see a lot of is a lot of people talk about that because that's table stakes, right? If you're in my shoes, they're the lifeblood of our company, this, and then it comes down to actions, feelings, and sentiment, right? And so, well, I'll hang my hat on today, tomorrow, months, quarters, years from now, is the fact that if you go ask the carriers that work with my team, what do they think it's like dealing with my team? And not just like in all facets, right? I think that's really where there becomes a lot of ugliness and mistrust in what the logistics industry is because misaligned incentives, lack of education, lack of professionalism, just a lack of overall trustworthiness in a lot of places that leads to a bad feeling in the broker carrier relationship. And so here, right, we try to set ourselves apart, much like I've mentioned earlier in our talk here. Like, how can we do it differently? What do we expect of the folks that are working with carriers? Like, what do we tolerate in regards to how you talk to carriers? You know what I'm saying? Like, it comes down to like, you are what you tolerate, right? And it's not about, what you see in social media, what you see on a website, what I say in podcasts, everything about the carriers and honestly the shippers too. It's what happens on a day-to-day basis when you're talking to one of my teammates. Do you get a sense that we care about the business, we care about the relationship? We may not always agree, right? Because this isn't roses and rainbows and kumbaya.
Yeah, it's trucking,
right? It's trucking, but there's a way to handle even the disagreements, which we know. And I think that's where we've hung our hat, and that's what we demand from our leaders all the way down to all the folks for this.
I'm happy you made the last point, right? Because you get all these people that go on these shows and maybe on social media where it's like always sunshine and rainbows and everything's perfect. It's not going to be an agreement every single time, but it comes down to how did you resolve whatever issue you guys faced, right? Because the carrier's going to be upset that they have to lay over the freight. They're always going to be upset that they have to lay over the freight. This is just an example. And it's how the brokerage or the shipper, whoever is dealing with it, reacts to that situation, right? Because the carrier is never going to be happy to be told, well, guys, sorry, you're stuck for today. It's just, they're never going to be happy about that. But it's the approach. It's when you call and they answer on the first call and they talk to you in a polite way and everybody's being nice to each other and they're like, okay, like this situation sucks. We all agree this is a bad situation. This is what we're going to do to help you guys make this right. And I mean, that's something FreightVana has always done. I mean, I've laid over on freight for you guys sometimes. And you guys are like, okay, you know what? I'm just going to send you a revised rate on here. It's in your email. Sorry. Have a good day. And that's the thing as a carrier when you have owner operators. They think that they're not going to get paid for the layover and they start panicking and they start blowing the carrier up and then they start getting mad. And when you have a brokerage that's just like, hey, check your email. You already have, the fee. You can show it to the driver. It's just how you handle things, right? It's caring about the driver.
It's care, it's intentionality, and it's also someone like me and my team leaders highlighting for these young folks that are learning this industry that it's not about a transaction. If you win the transaction, that might not be a good thing for our company. And I don't know what winning is, right? So really define what winning is. And unfortunately, because there's always dollars involved and a lot of dollars involved every day, we think winning is all in that daily transaction. And you and I both know that, like, hey, it might be a crappy deal for you on a Tuesday, but guess what? That next Friday, when you see that FreightVana load on the load board and we need help out of something and you've got some free time, and we've treated you fairly that last Tuesday, and maybe, maybe it sucked for us, guess what? You might be like, hey, you know what, guys, I'll do you a solid and I'll do that for a Friday. Now that's a relationship. And so that's what I demand of our team as we go out there into the world and we continue to grow our footprint. Because rallies, we're constantly getting introduced to new carriers. And honestly, some carriers, just like shippers, just like you guys would, in your world fire brokers, like it all works. We're trying to find those folks that identify with our values. And those are the people that we're going to continue to build with. And the good thing is, man, there's a lot of those folks out there, which is really cool.
Yeah. No, I'm happy you talked about, the whole relationship thing, because I mean, John Taffer, from Bar Rescue, that show, it's stuck in my head since I was 10 years old, probably, where he's like, this is penny smart, but it's dollar stupid. It just always sits in my head. And I had to explain to former bosses of mine, listen, guys, we're going to lose $200 today, but that could lead to $50,000 worth of business in 6 months down the road. You never know what's going to happen down the road. And you can't look at every situation on a day-to-day basis. You have to look at a weekly basis, a monthly basis. Who knows, a 2 years down the road basis, man. If you help somebody out, there's always going to be goodwill. And yeah, like you said, not everybody's going to respect that. Not everybody's going to view it the same way you do. But like you said, if I take a loss on a Tuesday, you take a loss on a Friday, nobody lost in the end. And
yeah,
I think you said it right. I don't know what winning is.
Us being here today is a perfect testament to that. And when's the last time you hauled a FreightVana load?
Yeah, like, I mean, I got out of the carrier side half a year ago, but
but we're talking today, right? And like that, you said the word, made me think of it, goodwill. Because we treated you with respect, you think about our brand in a certain way. 6 months later, now you're on your new journey. You're on this podcast journey. We're talking about it. That's special. That's goodwill.
Yeah, that is goodwill. And like I said, I think the biggest thing for FreightVana to me as a dispatcher was every single time I called somebody from that company, it was just a good experience. Like, you have certain companies where when the phone starts ringing, you start thinking like, this could go either way, like. So I think you guys do a really good job of keeping the standards really high. But I want to go through social media with you guys, because that's something you guys are really good at. And I want to kind of go through, how did you guys find success in it? What's the importance of social media to you guys? And just kind of take us through the day where you guys said, hey, we're going to be good at social media, because a lot of companies don't do it, man, in trucking.
Yeah. Well, hey, the day that I knew I wanted to be good at social media was the day that, I envisioned a new brand in the space, right? I have a passion for marketing. I wish that sometimes I could get lost in Josh and I can go all day long and ideate now.
Yeah, shout out Joshua Breeze, man. Shout out to that guy.
Shout out Josh Breeze. Yeah, shout him out. Love that guy. Like I told you, we've been together since 2012. All the ups, all the downs, good health, bad health, family stuff. Like we've been through the fires together. And dude, he's an amazing talent. We both have a passion for the marketing, but really the thing was, we just knew that the opportunity was so great to be fun, to be bold, to be goofy, to be humble, and like do social in this cool way. And it's been so special with all the followers that we've gained, right? It's just because they are like rooting us on. And then we even created it around like even the trailers, right, Alex? Like you mentioned,
Power. Yeah, I was gonna say my favorite thing with FreightVana is in the wild. You guys in the wild.
In the wild, right? And so, dude, I've got friends that work all over the industry. I got friends that work for multi-billion-dollar companies, right? And I'll shoot them a picture of like one of their trailers. And the other day, this friend works for one of the biggest trucking companies in the country, and I shot him a picture of it. And he sent it back. He said his company name in the wild, and he's like, scratch that, it just doesn't hit the same. It's like, and so like kudos for that, right? Like that is something that is like, I always tell people there's millions of those trailers in the overall country, right? Typically they're just a commodity that no one pays attention to, but we just have created this environment where people are rooting us on. People like how we treat them. Our competitors are noticing, but even that is just love, right? And it's like, hey, I saw one of your trailers in the wild, and so every week we're just getting
it's
hit.
like the same feeling as like when you see like a punch buggy or like a PT cruiser.
Yeah,
you're like, oh, there it is. Like,
and you know what's so special, man? If you think about that before in the wild, you tell me one time in this space where the trailer's been special like that.
Yeah, like it hasn't been. That's the thing.
Hasn't been done.
Trailers have never been the focus of anything. They're always, like you said, an afterthought. They're just something stuff goes inside of, but it's just unlimited marketing potential.
And so we've made them the hero, right? They're the hero for us. They unlock the power only and the benefits. They unlock the benefits to the shipper. Like, we put them on stage. It's like a Lakers game, right? Like, think of that trailer at mid-court and everything's dark, and then that trailer's there and everything around it helps support it, right? Like, I know that sounds goofy.
Nah, it's crazy because I was a power only carrier, like hauling those trailers. Like, yeah, like you guys made the trailer the hero, and that's something that nobody else has even thought to do.
And if you're going to build one of the largest power only networks in the country, which we intend to do, Alex, that is a cool place to sit. And more importantly, think about changing and evolving both social media and the power only category that is. What a cool spot to let your marketing just show what you're about, bring it to life, and let people know who you are and what you're about in so many different ways. Like, I think it's beautiful, honestly, man. I'm so proud, like, over 3 years later, sitting here, because before that,
talking about trailers, man.
Yeah, a couple grown logisticians talking about trailers, you know. But
I love this industry. I love your passion. That's the thing. You can feel people, and I think there's a lot of this stuff on LinkedIn, sales tips and this, and they're saying be authentic, but this is really what they mean. I mean, people can feel your energy. People can feel when you're excited about something, when you actually care about something, and you're not just kind of being a fake person pretending to care about something. I mean, authenticity can't be faked, and that's for sure.
Yeah, man. And we pour it out, right? And it's not just me, it's everybody here on this team. And I, in a prior life, my entire career, sports fields, whatever, that's just how I was raised. That's only thing I ever knew. And I have certainly carried that on into the FreightVana journey. And, I'm absolutely blessed to be on it with this really cool team. So.
No, like I said, man, this is a full circle moment for me. You guys are one of the names I loved seeing out on the boards, and being able to talk to you is super cool. But I mean, we don't gotta. I mean, I think we've hit the end of FreightVana. I've figured out everything I really personally wanted to ask you. I want to go through your craziest logistics story, and I'm sure maybe we could do 2 or 3 of them, because I'm sure in your entire career in this space, there's probably been more than one insane story to go through.
Yeah, I mean, the ones that stick out, unfortunately, involve like big checks and claims. I mean, my early career, I think I'd only been at work a couple months, and we had, a trailer full of like liquor and vodka go down an embankment and into a river, and then they had to it was just remediate the whole thing. I mean, I think it was like, I don't even.
The fish were having like a party that day.
It's like $1 million like cleanup, and I was just so new into the space. I was like, wow, like that is real. So that's probably the most memorable.
I had, on a similar note to that, my first couple of weeks in this industry, somebody in the company sent a driver out to New York Island, and long story short, a helicopter had to turn the truck around. And I was thinking, like, what did I just get involved in? Like,
yeah. It's just those wild ones. There's so many like cool, fulfilling moments, just these like milestone moments for us. Just a lot of carrier love. I had a carrier the other day. I think he's got like 18,000 followers, and just went on social media and was like, my favorite broker is like FreightVana. And Victor's dope, right? I got a chance to send him some swag, and like got a chance to send him a note and do all that. But like, I just love the love, And when you're trying to go out there on an island and build a company in a sea of competition, man, it's really special when you stick out for the right reasons.
I mean, what's your best advice to give somebody? How do you keep this level of intensity and passion throughout this journey? I mean, it's been, like you said, almost 4 years, and I feel like you're probably more excited today than you were on day one, which is just kind of insane.
I think you get to a point, man, where like you really figure out what it is you want to do, who it is you want to do it with, and why you do it. And that why, I know people just, everybody talks about the why. Oh, what's your why? What's your why? But like my why is incredibly defined, right? For my own purpose, the challenges I want to take on, what I think is possible just from an industry sake. And then also for the people that have supported me along the way, my parents, my father, my family. I'm so connected to that, man. And the other thing that I give you here that's so much different than being just employed, like imagine if you mentioned the 24, and now I've got over 100 people, right? I'm responsible for. Like when I walk through the doors, man, like it's not about me, right? Like it's about me giving my absolute very best so that they can go out and achieve things, so that we can grow together, so that they can take vacations, so that they can take care of their families. And man, that responsibility, like it could either break you or it can absolutely fuel you in a way that I have made it just a perspective and a fuel that will continue to follow, drive me as long as I'm given the opportunity to do so.
Yeah, I mean, I can't even imagine that level of responsibility at that size. But I've gone through the management thing, and I'll be completely honest, I failed the first time. I had no idea. I mean, I was a high performing dispatcher. I was like, oh, I can run it. I know the job. I'll be good at this. I crashed and burned so hard in my first role in management, man, because I understood absolutely nothing about different types of people, talking to people in different ways, just understanding humans in the workplace. It's a big thing to deal with. I've gotten a lot better at it, thankfully, my second time around. I learned a lot from the first mistakes, but I mean, what are some tips for management, man? What are some tips you have for being responsible for the other people?
I think your test for yourself is when you wake up and you go to work, are you thinking about yourself or are you thinking about them? Right? There's your first test. Right? And that's just a real test. Like you don't need to fake anybody. You don't need to tell people about it. Just you will know if you're built to lead people if you're not worried about your scoreboard. You're not worried. Like you understand that like the goal and mission is for your team to win, and you're willing to do anything for that team to win. And it comes down to caring about understanding the different people on the team. And look, also being willing if you make mistakes to like, hey, dude, I screwed up. Like, and I'm willing to be better so that we can all win. And so like that persistence and that care is an absolute must if you're going to lead people because they feed off that. And what I always find funny is, I talked about titles and roles and salaries. Like people think that's what gets it done. Like people see through that in 3 seconds.
Oh, yeah.
It takes days, not even days, maybe hours, and people understand what they've got. And so what they really want is to be inspired. What they really want is to be able to challenge themselves. What they really want is to give their very best for someone that actually gives a shit about them. And honestly, like that's the superpower if you're going to lead people.
Yeah. I mean, I feel that with my operation, man. That's why I'm where I am, and that's why I'm happy where I am. Because I mean, like you just said, you want to feel like what you do at your job is actually appreciated, and you don't want to be talked down to when you come to work. I mean, the easiest way to get the best out of somebody is to encourage them, not to discourage them. So.
Yeah, you hit it on the head, man.
All right, man. I think we're done with all the serious stuff. Again, shout out FreightVana. Loved working with you guys. I want to get into some quick personality stuff with you, and then we're basically out of here. So,
all right, brother.
Hobbies wise, man, what do you do when you're not leading FreightVana to victory, man?
I love golf, man. I don't get to play as much because my little guy's in club soccer now. So I spend my late nights at soccer fields and my Saturdays and some Sundays at soccer fields. But I love watching.
Shout out to soccer, man. That's my favorite sport. I used to be really good at it. Now I just watch Manchester on the weekends. I love soccer.
Hey,
that's my favorite.
So I'm out in Phoenix. It's my favorite thing on the weekends. The early game starts at like 6 a.m. or 5 a.m. and I'll wake up with a coffee and watch soccer. I love that talent at the EPL level is so beautiful, all of it. So I'm become a huge soccer fan, probably a bigger soccer fan than almost probably any sport. Watch my boy play. So that's what I do for fun. I love golf. It's absolute passion. I haven't got to play as much as I'd like just because of
Did you like golf before you were in any type of a corporation, or did you find your love for golf after entering corporate America?
I found my love for golf, Alex, when I tore my Achilles in half at the ripe age of 22 in the City League Championship game. So then I had to figure out after a year and a half of rehab, like what I was going to do next. And it wasn't going to be going back to basketball. And I just felt like I had to take that personal challenge and that athletic competitiveness and find a channel. So I played golf, but more like casually and with friends. And then, so I really just poured all of that competitiveness from basketball into golf. And then I've been loving it for the last, 10 plus years that I've been playing seriously.
Wait, so how tall are you if you played basketball?
Oh, I'm like 7'3".
No, there's no way.
Oh, no, seriously, I went to the combine. I'm 5'11" and 3/4.
Okay, so 6 feet. We'll just say 6 feet.
That's what I tell my wife, but she doesn't.
But I mean, that's the thing with soccer. That's how I fell in love with it, actually, is I used to play ice hockey. I mean, I'm Canadian. What else do we play when you're kids? Just straight ice hockey. And I was really good at ice hockey, and I thought I loved it. And then my first year in a checking league, because I was playing like 3 years above my age, because I'm like really big. So they're like, when I was like 10 or 11, they're like, yeah, just go play with like the 16-year-olds. It'll be fine. And then some like very unathletic kid just absolutely destroyed me. And I was like, yeah, this is like not the sport for me, because like the physical sports, like you have to be a certain physical size to play them. And I think the thing about soccer that was so attractive to me was anyone can play. Anybody with 2 feet can play soccer, man. Like you could be 4 feet tall, 7 feet tall. It doesn't matter. It's an accessible game. And it's about skill. It's not just about being physical.
Same as golf. Yeah. Right? Look at the tour. Yeah, you've got guys that are monsters that pound it, but you got guys that are competing with the best players in the world that are 5'8", 5'9", and you know what I mean? Like golf.
And also the money thing. Okay, well, golf. This doesn't apply for golf at all. But soccer is a lot cheaper than ice hockey. I mean, you just need like a ball and like 2 shoes as a net. That doesn't apply to golf at all. That's completely different.
Golf is golf. Yeah.
But all right, man. I guess sports we just kind of talked about. So basketball, soccer, golf. That's your sports.
Yeah. That is it. Yeah.
What's your favorite team for soccer? Do you watch soccer like religiously or just kind of in passing?
I watch the EPL. It's funny. Everybody's got like a team. I kind of just like the EPL.
Yeah, just the EPL.
I don't have a team. Like I will watch just the good games.
Any EPL game.
Play Liverpool. Like I'd love to watch. Like I'm down to watch any quality game. I'll watch anything. I
just love the EPL because it's a league where it's not just 2 or 3 teams. Any team can beat any team on any given day, and it's just so fun to watch the EPL.
The best in the world, man, watching them do their thing. It's crazy.
All right, music. This is one that I have no guess for. How does the music genres look for you?
I'm a little bit all over the map. I go with some indie folk if I'm just trying to chill out, but listen to a lot of country too, randomly. I don't know. Usually my music is either drives, but mostly not even drives because I'm usually on the phone. Usually it's at the golf course. So usually it's the chill indie folk or some country. Got to take the wife to like a Morgan Wallen concert. That was a good time up in Denver. So yeah, I'd say indie folk and country, my man.
I don't know how familiar you are with the movie The Big Short, but what's his name? I can't remember the actor's name though. The guy that plays Batman, Christian Bale, when he's sitting in his office with like death metal playing. I don't know why I just thought I could like totally see you doing something.
Yeah, no, that's not me. I'm not the death metal guy. Sorry for all the fans out there.
All right, man. I mean, I got 2 questions there, the recurring questions of the show, and we're out of here. So regarding train and rail transportation, how many chuggas come before choo-choo?
I have no idea.
Like, like chugga.
I 2 then.
2? Chugga, chugga, choo-choo? That's fair. I mean, any division of 2 is the right answer, so I'll take it.
All right.
The final question, and something like you said, you guys got kind of your social media thing from making the trailer The Hero. I somehow fell into this whole chicken wing thing. So when you eat chicken wings, do you prefer drums or flats?
Flats all day. If I could get all flats, and very rarely do people ask, I'm an all flat guy.
Why does that keep happening? What is it with flats? This happened yesterday. It's happening today. Like it's not the right answer, man. What do you like about flats?
They come off the bone so much cleaner. I feel like the
consistency. Do you eat it like the guy from yesterday? Justin eats it like he sent me a YouTube video on how he eats them. He like twists something and breaks something.
Oh no, it's not that scientific. I think the dressing is kind of nicer when you're dipping sauce. I think the meat comes off cleaner, easier to eat side to side. And honestly, the drums got to go back to the drawing table because the consistency. I mean, you get these like deformed as like bulges and things coming off the side of these drums, and it's like it's just. inappealing. They look like mutant chickens, you know, and they probably all are. But just the flats at least have a lot more consistency.
I know you kind of had the best rebuttal for why you like flats that anybody's ever had so far. As far as dipping sauce go, you ranch or blue cheese kind of guy?
I can go either, man. It just depends on which way the wind's blowing, you know.
I mean, you have to pick. If you had to pick one for the rest of your life.
Oh, ranch. If I had to, it'd be ranch. Yeah.
All right.
But I don't hate on blue cheese. I don't hate on, you know, some people hate on blue cheese. I'm not a blue cheese hater. I like it.
Yeah, okay. You're gonna go 0 for 3 if you get this next one wrong. So maybe take a second to think about it.
Opposite attract, Alex. I hope I do.
Breaded or non-breaded?
Non-breaded, actually.
Yeah, there you go, man. 0 for 3, wrapping up the chicken wing choices. Okay. Hey, man, it's really great to meet you. Like I said, a full circle moment for me. I love FreightVana. I loved working for you guys, with you guys. And I really look forward to seeing what you guys do in the next 3 years, since I just found out you've only been around 3 years at this point.
Bro, just imagine, right? Let's stay in touch until then. Shoot me some stuff. Let me hit you up with some swag so you can rock it out there. I
really, really, really appreciate you sitting down with me, man. And like I said, good luck with the FreightVana journey, and just keep doing what you guys do, man.
Yeah, I appreciate your passion and your professionalism too, Alex. That's awesome, man.
Hey, take it easy, bro. That wraps up podcast episode 47 with Shannon Breen, the co-CEO and founder of FreightVana. If you ever see them on the load boards, if you're a carrier, don't be afraid to call them. They're always going to treat you right. Have a good night, everybody.